87. And of course, you see the emergency department that is on the northeast side of the hospital, essentially in between, on the side of Midlothian Parkway, but very prominent in the front. Excited about the architecture that we have, the slight bend in the front of the hospital. The main entrance is right in the middle of the hospital. You see the cross just in front of a glass structure right in the middle of the building. And Corrigan is our architect, and I've learned architects get really excited about this stuff, and they get me really excited about this stuff as well. But we call that the lantern, which is a lot of light and glass that will signify the main entrance to the hospital right in the middle of the building. And also you'll see on either side of the hospital the aluminum type structure, metal type structure with the Methodist logo right in the middle. That will actually be on this side that you see, which is the Midlothian Parkway side, and actually on the other side that faces the stadium as well. All visitor parking would be up front, of course, very convenient. We plan for visitors, for patients that come to the hospital. All staff, medical staff parking would be in the back. And you'll see also actually to the right side of the hospital, you can see kind of the figure of an ambulance traffic to the emergency department, and drive-up traffic to the emergency department will be separated. We've actually talked to local EMS leadership, Midlothian EMS leadership about that to make sure that that's a good design, and they seem to be very excited about that. So very excited about this project. Thank you all very much for this opportunity, and thank you to Larry and Chris for all that they've done to get us here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, John, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving John that opportunity to speak to y'all. Well, Methodist Hospital intends to purchase and develop an approximately 67-acre tract, as Mr. Phillips stated, with a 5-story building, 190,000 square foot. It's a hospital, new 3-story, 45,000 square foot medical office building, as he stated. Future plans include expanding the hospital and their initial footprint to include complementary medical uses. So that could be a variety of things, and that's to be determined in the future. But it may include medical office buildings and outpatient care facilities. In your packet, you've got a location map, and you've also got a letter application. And per that letter application, Methodist Hospital requested economic development incentives to assist with the public infrastructure. So I'll talk a little bit more about the public infrastructure here in a moment. And that infrastructure will support the hospital and provide public access to the hospital. So it's very important. This agreement is performance-based, and the 380 agreement facilitates rebates using future sales tax revenue over a 10-year period. It's performance-based in the sense that since the beginning we've talked to them about before you receive any incentives, the facility needs to be open for business and operating and seeing patients. And so that's a pretty clear-cut way of determining when we're finished, when they're open and when they're finished. Rebates will include yearly amounts equal to 55% of property taxes paid on the proposed medical office buildings. So the medical office buildings are the only buildings in this first complex that will pay ad valorem tax. So the 55% goes toward the medical office buildings, and amounts equal to the impact and building permit fees paid during construction. And we're going to suggest a change to you tonight in the document in where we cap the building permit fee dollars. So in the agreement, your agreement that you're seeing does not have that in there.
And Larry, just for clarification, we've already provided an updated copy that does include the 400,000 in the definition and in the
It should be a red line version that you're, and there it is.
Okay, so you have seen that.
Yeah.
So when we get to the end, I'll recommend approval with that change then. You know, this hospital I'm kind of preaching to the choir because we know the benefits of this hospital. being close to home, but I just want to reiterate that it's close to home for our citizens. This is for our citizens. This project will generate several other economic benefits. We see that because of the daytime traffic that a hospital brings, we could see other growth. And that's where a lot of our economic impact will come in when we see that additional growth. I think also very important, we have residents here that drive out of town right now to work, and there's a possibility they have a place to work here without driving out. And plus, we're going to get new residents because people are going to want to move here to work at this hospital. Growth opportunities for existing developments. There are developments already here that could grow as a result of the increased daytime traffic. Spin-off developments due to increased daytime population could provide additional retail and commercial projects. Just a couple of other things. All the information that we've used to evaluate this project has been provided by Methodist Hospital. We couldn't assume anything. We had to have the information that they gave us to come up with the package that we've arrived at. I also wanted to let you know that as always, the Midlothian Board of Directors, Economic Development Board of Directors has seen the project, has seen both incentive packages that we're going to talk about tonight. They've reviewed it, all of the proposed rebate schedule and incentive reviews. So they have seen that. And then lastly, I wanted to say that there's a precedent for an agreement like this, and we did it very successfully with the shopping center project, and we repeat that process here, and I think it will work out very well. Now, Mr. Mayor, from here I can go into great detail of the document, and I'm prepared to go into detail since you've seen this since it was published. I can go into some detail, and then you can stop me when you've had enough, or we can go through the whole thing. I'd really ask, maybe you have questions.
If anybody has questions, otherwise you can present what you feel is necessary. Because
one question I have is how many people are being employed?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to tell us how many beds the hospital will be?
Yes, sir. So we plan to open with 44 beds, and we can expand up to 80 plus beds.
Anything additional on the employees while you're?
No, I think that's a great start. It's right around 300 full-time equivalents. So that could be more than 300 staff members because businesses, you have part-time or PRA. And that's just staff. That's not including medical staff that would be additional. Those would be employees to Methodist, and many of our medical staff at Methodist are independent physicians.
In the document, on page 1 of the document, the first key point is to describe the various buildings that are going to be built. There's the hospital, and you'll see MOB1, which is Medical Office Building 1. You'll see with a part of that hospital, part of it will start out as a shell space, and then it will be finished at a future date. Then you see MOB2, Medical Office Building 2, and then OCF stands for Outpatient Care Facility, and that could be a number of different outpatient care facilities. I'm sure we've all visited some of those type facilities. The second key part is when will everything be built. So the next paragraph, the next whereas, talks about phase 1A. Phase 1A will include the hospital, it will include the entire hospital building, but there will be shell space left in the building. Then it includes medical office building number 1, and it also includes all of the infrastructure improvements, the public infrastructure, which I will just briefly go over in just a moment. So that's phase 1A. Phase 1B finishes out the hospital. All of the shell space in the hospital is completed, and the entire hospital is open now. Phase 2 pertains to medical office building number 2, and then phase 3 are the outpatient care facilities. I want I would like to jump over to page number, give me just a moment, I'll have it. Page number 6, if you would. Page number 6 of 31, public infrastructure, it's in the definitions at the bottom. Very briefly, the public infrastructure that we're talking about is your divided roads. That's an undivided road. Silken crossing at the to the service road presently. This is a road that this is the aesthetics of the property, and so that's what this whole item is talking about, with the Encore lines and the Hillco lines, and then there's even a transmission line that where the poles will be upgraded. They'll still be overhead for now, but probably always, but they'll be upgraded to a different type of pole. Number stations where we added up to, at the end of that sentence, the addition was up to $400,000, and that's the cap. Okay, let's breeze through here, and then if you would look at page number 8. So we get a little more specific on these 4 different phases that we're talking about. And in this chart, toward the bottom of the page, it says phase and completion deadline. This tells you when those phases are supposed to be completed. This again came from Methodist. They gave us this information. So this is their plan. And as we told them from day one, the quicker you can do it, the better. And the bigger you can do it, the better. So they're going to work on that. Then the other part of the infrastructure I wanted to point out is on page number 9, paragraph number E there. It says, companies shall dedicate 40 feet of right-of-way to the city. That's a future Weaver Way. So they're going to dedicate their half of the 80-foot right-of-way up front. And so we don't have to deal with the right-of-way issue in the future. That paragraph and the chart, you can see it's a schedule, basically for on the MOB1 building. Now, according to their completion dates, they were not going to finish MOB2 until 2027. So the little asterisk that you see on the chart says, if you finish early, we'll give you the 55% early. So it's an incentive to get things done as quick as possible. Then paragraph number B deals with the impact fees that are going to be rebated, and also that building permit fees. And again, you'll see in one of the last sentences there, it says impact fees and up to $400,000 for building permit fees. So that's where we picked that out. We also address it on the next page in the payment schedule, but I don't need to go through that. Beyond that part, Joe would probably be happy to tell you all about the legal aspects of the rest of this document, because the attorneys have worked on this quite extensively. There are some exhibits, and you will see exhibit number B. There's not a page number on mine. I don't know if there is on yours, but it's a colored document that looks like this.
25 to 30.
Okay. Yes, there it is. Sorry. 25 to 31. This shows you a layout of the site and how the hospital, as John described, how the hospital will face the 287. The next exhibit number C, gives you a picture of those roads that we described. And some questions.
Any questions? I think not.
Mr. Mayor, my recommendation and the recommendation of the Midlothian Economic Development, Chapter 380 Economic Development Performance Agreement, as shown with the change of the cap of $400,000 on the building permit.
I move that be the motion.
I'll second it. Record your votes, please. And it does pass 7-0.
Welcome to Midlothian.
Keep going, keep yours moving.
Excuse me just 1 second.
Yes.
Now we'll move on to 2018-274, consider an act upon approving the MED and MCDC Economic Development Performance Agreement between Midlothian Economic Development, Midlothian Community Development Corporation, and Methodist Health System for the development of a hospital and related medical uses.
Much of this is very similar to what you just heard, so I won't go through all that again. It's okay with y'all. But I will say that this also is a performance-based agreement, and in this agreement, it facilitates cash incentives over a 10-year period as well. So both agreements are for 10 years. This facilitates those cash incentives over 10 years. Again, has to be open and operating. The incentive payouts are spread over 10 years and tied to milestones or completion dates, which are described in the document for the various phases of development. And all of that, again, was provided by Methodist Hospital. I will be happy to go through this document, not quite as extensively, but
No, I think
you've got enough, man.
I have a motion for approval. And I have a second. Record your votes, please.
All
And
right.
it does pass 7-0.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much, and all of you for your time here tonight and looking at this and considering this project. With John and Dan tonight are employees of Methodist Hospital, and they sure would like to get a picture with y'all and them. If you could just.
Why would they want that letter?
They want to come up there, they want us to go down there.
I think they're going to come up here, maybe y'all stand up
Yeah,
and
that's
group
right.
together.
And I'll tell you why. That's a great question. So we're so excited about Midlothian. Midlothian's a big deal to Methodists. We look forward to groundbreaking, and we'd like to be in pictures with you and shoulder to shoulder.
John?
Actually, we'll be planning the groundbreaking, we believe, for October the 26th, but we'll be coordinating between the city, the school district, and get more information to y'all on that.
My wife
I
is
don't-
extremely excited about this.
Yeah.
Because I spent a lot of time in Mansfield. It's just going to reduce her commute.
We're excited.
I'm not sure if Methodist shout, but it seems like a good time to shout.
So most of you know this Angel, and she's going to tell us where to stand. But I think y'all staying up there is fine.
We have several folks in the group, Midlothian residents who happen to be Methodist employees and physicians.
Come on, Tommy. Come on, Ken.
And Mr. Pritchett?
Sarah.
Don't come on up here. Just stand up and call us.
You'll get
This is so exciting for us. We're so excited.
We knew it was coming. We were just praying.
John, good to see you, my friend. I heard that.
lucky more time.
And you built that faster than you built in the plan.
Don't even go there.
See, there was a reason that's happening.
Here, let me.
We'll move to 2018-275, and this is a record vote. We'll consider, discuss, and take record vote to propose an ad valorem tax rate of 0.708244 and schedule 2 public hearings regarding the proposed ad valorem tax rate for August 28, 2018 and September 4, 2018.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
We are here to do the record vote. There's a couple of things we have to do tonight. First, I wanted to, million. Sorry. I do this every year.
We know where you were.
$812,190. Making each penny of taxes worth $369,481. Different tax rates. We're proposing a total tax rate of 0.708244 per hundred valuation. That is broken out